What's on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and well, we have a major problem. It happened again. We had yet another person who is a member of that specific group of people, the big T, the one that you should probably be very concerned about, at least in my opinion, go in and decide they didn't want to be here anymore. And instead of doing the noble thing and at least just doing that, they decided they wanted to set the record for the most people ever taken with them. Yesterday was a horrible, horrible incident at a school, and you've probably heard some of the details about it, but I've done a little bit different kind of digging. And there's some twists and turns here in this story, a story that I think we've covered far too many times in the past 5 years. There is a very real connection between the big T group of people and doing the most heinous things on the planet. Obviously, hashtag not all, okay? But there is a very, very real issue. In fact, there is an interesting connection to Matt Walsh with this individual that we're going to explore. Denver, big T, Aberdeen, big T, Nashville, big T, Philadelphia, Iowa, Uvalde, Colorado, Minnesota. All of these people from the same group. Canada, supposedly one of the safest places on earth, the strictest laws. And there you have it. Now, there's a couple important parts of the story. And first and foremost is the media cover-up. Even now, the media in Canada, okay, the Canadian mainstream media, and including some media in the United States, are more concerned with using the correct pronouns of the monster that did this than the 10 people who are no longer with us and 25 more that have been injured. That's a problem. That's a major problem. All right. There is a huge, insane mental illness problem in this country. And there seems to be one really convenient way to identify some of the most dangerous people on the planet. Those who are radicalized, those who are not, those who are terminally online, and those who identify as trans seem to have a significant increase over the past 5 years of doing horrible, horrible things. Now, this individual was being described as a person in a dress. That's what the media was saying. It's a person in a dress. Well, no. Or a woman in a dress. No. It is a biological man who has been radicalized by Reddit and even been predicted by Matt Walsh. Let's get into some of the more interesting parts of this story. So the individual that carried out the loser who's burning right now, is named Jesse Strang, and participated in a lot of time, participated much of their time in Reddit, specifically Reddit groups that help force gender ideology on people looking for a little direction in their life. Instead of finding the church, instead of finding, spending time with their parents, getting a job, or whatever the case may be, they spend time on Reddit. They spend time on Reddit, and they get radicalized. His confirmed YouTube handle, Jess347, coincides with a now deleted Reddit user, JesseBoy347. The screenshot is at least a few years old. What's interesting was, a few years ago, this individual was highlighted by a Twitter handle, Males of Reddit. Never let your kids watch anime. Here's JesseBoy347's Reddit post in a trans Reddit group. I mailed a female pre-HRT 15, and I've been viewing a lot of anime-related content recently. Was never into it before, This character is always so cute. I don't want to be 2D or anything like characters themselves, but when it comes to their body shape and stuff, I often find myself comparing their semi-unrealistic yet still physically possible shape. Specifically when it comes to height, BMI, and obviously their chesticles. I'm super skinny, so that sometimes makes me feel kind of good. But I'm pre-HRT. My expectations are minimal for chest growth. This man wants to grow a chest. He was so into the female form, he wanted to become one. Again, this is not, are there people in the world with gender dysphoria? Yes. Just like people have body dysmorphia and all sorts of stuff. But what happens is people go in these Reddit groups and they get told by other people who are dealing with mental health issues that if they just, have a healthy girl have a double mastectomy, she'll feel better. And by the way, recent science proves that that is 100% not true. It proves that it does not lower the rate of people wanting to leave this planet. It doesn't increase their happiness. It just makes them a lifetime pharmaceutical member. Side note, if you know of anywhere I should go to get into watching anime, that'd be nice. Never watched it before. OUO, I don't know what that is. That's supposed to be ooh, I don't know. Now, Matt Walsh, at the time, quote tweeted this saying, hate to say I told you so. Was this loser groomed by Reddit's MTF group when asking for transitioning advice at 15? Well, yeah, of course. This was most likely his Reddit account. Check out my oldest son, Jesse Strang's YouTube channel. He posts about hunting, self-reliance, and stuff like that. Subscribe and get notifications. So the mom posted their son's YouTube channel, so a Reddit account. So it's entirely likely that this is that individual's. There's videos of them at the range. I don't care about that. I'm not going to fall for the trap where everyone makes it about the weapons. So Matt Walsh, this tweet comes up. I once again hate to say I told you so. Now, obviously, Matt does not, care. He doesn't care for anime. I think sometimes he, has he'll say something wildly unpopular about pop culture just to rile people up. I've never taken pop culture advice from Matt Walsh, but it's such a weird connection, right? They dunked on this guy a few years ago, 3 years ago. And then Matt Walsh says, I once again hate to say I told you so. Was this person, most of this stuff happens online, right? Police referred to the loser as a female in address and have refused to identify him officially. But independent journalists, not legacy media, have done the heavy work of identifying him. He took 9, including himself, making it one of the most horrible incidents ever. I mean, you're talking about very, 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 people with their whole lives in front of them taken because this man, wanted to go down in history. Gender ideology is a cult and it should be rooted out completely. I 100% agree with that. It's absolutely horrible. And a lot of people want to talk about, the focus where it should be on those that passed. Yes. I mean, this is how the Canadian police referred to him.
That includes the deceased gun person.
It was a man. If this doesn't boil your blood, the fact that they are more concerned with using the wrong pronouns than calling this monster what they really were. In northern British Columbia, woman in a dress. They refuse to name the individual, citing privacy reasons. They do this kind of stuff all the time when it's one of these people. I don't think this is the person. I think this person's unfairly being put in these threads. That doesn't look like them. Here's Reuters 10 gone after woman. Public alert described the individual as female. I mean, this individual was never, could have never been considered female, biologically or how they look. And that's why they decided, hey, I'm going to take the lives of a dozen people. Who knows how many more we'll lose that they're in the hospital. It's absolutely bonkers. And look, this comes down to bad parenting, first of all. And I know you say, Jeremy, that's kind of rough. Why are you blaming the parents? Well, look after your kid. All right. You have some responsibility, especially if you know your kid is unhinged and needs help. You don't take them to some therapist that tells you, oh, well, let's just put them on hormone therapy. You look at what they're doing on the internet. You see that they're participating in these groups that groom them into these decisions. You stand up, you do your own research. This isn't 2015 anymore, okay? This isn't where doctors are saying, well, do you want a T kid or one that's not alive anymore? The science is out. We know there's no excuse for embracing this ideology. There's no excuse for accepting this ideology. There's no excuse for parents to be telling their kids that this kind of stuff is okay and supporting this stuff. This kid needed real therapy, real help, and needed parents that really loved them. They needed law enforcement that would probably disarm them. They needed, they don't need the media to come around and be giving them excuses. And even after they've done the most horrible thing imaginable, being more worried about their pronouns. This is absolutely appalling. And when is enough enough? How many kids are going to have to be taken before enough is enough? I hope you're informed by this video. If you were, please do leave a like on it and share it with your friends and family, and we'll talk to you again real soon.